Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to make this puffer fish. No, what's he called? Clownfish. Puffer fish. This little clownfish. So Finding Nemo, I guess it would be, but today it's just a clownfish. It's not going to be Nemo, but that's what Nemo is a clownfish. Let's get started. I'm going to use a 4.5 for this. The white I'm using is just a red heart. 4 weight, just a regular 4 weight. The orange I'm using is that Craft Smart Value, and it is just 4 weight. And the black I'm using is a red heart, and it's just a regular 4 weight. So I am using safety eyes for this. I don't know what size these are, but if that helps. I'm sure you can choose your own size. So let's jump right into this. We're going to start with our orange. I got some color changes we got to do. I'm hoping I have, this all the orange I have, so I'm hoping I have enough for the video. So you're going to make a magic ring, and you're going to put 6 single crochets. So I want his face to be pointy, so I didn't start with the regular 2 single crochets. We are building this in amigurumi style, so there's no slip stitching and there's no chaining. You're going to go right into your next stitch, and this round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. So that's my 1 single crochet, and that's where your marker is going to go. Then your next stitch is going to get the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat, so this should give you 9 stitches. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's number 2. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So now you can kind of flip it around so it's a lot easier to work with. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. This will bring you up to 15 stitches. Next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, bringing you up to 18 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the next space. Next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 21 stitches. So now that we've got 21 stitches, I want you to do 2 rows of 1 single crochets in each of these 21 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So I've got my 2 rows done. Next couple of rows that I want you to do before we change to black is going to be, well, this first one's going to be 6 single crochets and an increase. And this will bring you up to 24 stitches, and then I want you to do 1 single crochet in each of these 24 stitches, and then we're going to switch to black. That's number 1. That's 6 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So I'm coming up to the end of my 1 single crochet, and my last stitch I'm not going to finish with the orange, so I'm going to go into my last stitch. I'm going to pull up my orange, but I'm going to complete it with my black, and that'll get me ready for my color change. So now that we're switching to black, we're on round 8, and that's just going to be in black 1 single crochet around in each stitch, so 24 stitches, and then we're going to change to white. So I'm going to weave my orange part way around. Actually, we're coming back to orange. I would just leave the orange. I'm not going to weave it in. I'm just going to let it hang. I'm not going to weave my white in until I'm part way around, but I am going to get it ready. So just let your orange hang. You don't need to weave that in because we're just going to come back to that and we're going to use it again. So this is a way easier way to do it other than cutting off, reattaching, cutting off, reattaching, and carrying it through the project. This is our start and stop point, so that's why I'm just letting it hang. So I do my 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I don't need my marker because I've changed colors. So it's just 1 round of black. You don't have to do this every time because we're just going to drop our colors, so it's all eventually going to be attached. So you don't have to weave in every single round, you just need to drop your colors. So I'm part way around. I'm going to start weaving in my white. Doesn't matter how much of a tail you have in there. I'm not on camera much, am I? I should probably pay attention. So I'm on my final stitch. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the black. I'm going to finish that last stitch with my white because that's what I'm going to. And I'm just going to drop my black and I'm going to let it hang. Now all this is going to all be attached throughout the rest of the project, so we won't have to weave in anymore. This is it. So we're just going to drop it because this is our start and stop point. So now with white, I'm going to do 2 rows with white. Again, just 1 single crochet in each stitch. So I'm on my very last stitch. I need to go back to black. So I'm going to go into the stitch, I'm going to pull up my white, and I'm going to drop that, and I'm going to pick up my black. Now everything is going to get all screwy, but we'll make it through the project. And I'm going to finish it with my black. So just pull down on your white. You might have to hold that down for a bit. It'll all get all intertangled in there, so no big deal. Just make sure you've pulled it down. You can even weave it in 1 stitch just to make sure that that's going to stay tight. So now you just do 1 single crochet with the black, 1 row all the way around. And then we're going to stop for a minute. We're going to get the eyes done before we go too far. So I'm on my last stitch with my black, and I have to go back to my orange. So I want to do my eyes first. So at this point I'm just going to leave this, but I'm going to pull out my loop. Now if you have another roll of white, then you can use this, but I'm just going to use this part because we're doing short little things for the eyes. I made, let me show you. So I made this white around. It is shaped. It's supposed to be shaped a certain way, but you know what? You can't even tell that it is. So, I'm gonna say let's do this easy peasy style. I mean, I guess I could follow my pattern. So make a magic ring. And inside this magic ring, you're going to go 1 single crochet, 2 half double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 half double crochets, and a single crochet. That's how I made my eye. And then I pulled it. So it's supposed to be a certain shape. And then I fastened off. So make your slip stitch and fasten off. So you need a sewing tail to sew this on, but not a long one because it doesn't take much. So that's the eye, and then you put this in the center of that eye. So this big part is supposed to be up. So you need to decide where, because this is going to be a jog point, so I like it underneath on the bottom of the fish. So then we just determine where we want the eye. It's very difficult to get the eye on. Let me figure out where I put it. I didn't actually write it down. I'm not sure why. It looks like 1, 2, 3. The 5th and 6th row from the nose is where I put my last one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I put my fish's eye there. You may struggle, like I did, to get your back on because this is so small. I put mine on upside down because they're so hard to get on the right way, so I just put mine upside down. And then this just gets sewn on. I just pop this through to the other side, to the inside, and then I just kind of forget about it. So that guy's forgotten. And then I will sew around, and I will glue so that it lays flatter and doesn't stick up so much. So we'll make our other one. Make a magic ring. We're going to do 1 single crochet, 2 half doubles, a double, 2 half doubles, a single. Hopefully I can sew these on so you can actually see the shape. I didn't do well with my last one. But I didn't use glue either, so they're rolling up. But I'm going to use glue this time, So, oh, I'm not sure how I got tangled. So, I need a sewing tail. Not a large one, but one at least has to be there. Stick your eye in the hole. So just make sure when you put it on that you're putting it on where this big space is at the top. It's hard to judge when it's not stuffed yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I did my other one right about there. Just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. Make sure they're in the same 6 rows over. So it should look like that. And again, put your backs on upside down, because you won't be able to get them on any other way. It's even hard to get them on upside down. And then the straggler can just get tucked away. Down into the fish to be forgotten about. I gotta turn my eye up. There we go. So you can put some stuffing in this if you want to, but I find it harder to work with stuffing. So now I've got this great big collage of mess, but it's fine. It'll work itself out. You can turn it. These two until I sew. I'm just gonna tie in a wee little knot so that it doesn't continue to get in my way. And then just turn your work. That's all you have to do to untangle, is spin your work around, and then you're going to be perfectly fine. You're probably still going to be a little tangled, but this is not a job for somebody that wants something easy peasy. I mean, I don't find this hard, but you may find this just annoying. Not so much hard, but annoying. But it is Nemo, and we have to switch his colors. We have to go back to orange now. I'm going to go back up to where I was. So we're going back to orange, and we're going to start to decrease a little bit. So I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to go in, I'm going to pull up a loop, I'm going to grab my orange, and I'm going to finish the stitch. So I'm going to pull my black down, and I'm going to weave him in for one stitch, because I got to put my marker in anyway. So pull everything down. I weaved my black into that stitch, but now I'm just going to drop my black and let it hang there. So this round is going to be 6 single... Sorry, camera shut off again. So this is going to be 6 single crochets and a decrease. So that's number 1 with your marker. That's 6 single crochets and then your decrease. So you can do invisible decreases if you want, which is just going into the front loop and doing the exact same thing you would with the decrease, but just using the front loops. So repeat that all the way around, and it should give you 21 stitches when you're done. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and a decrease, bringing you down to 18 stitches. So that's number 1. That's 5 single crochets and then your decrease. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease. But I'm going to put some stuffing in this. You got to be kind of careful because you got a lot going on in here, but before we get too far, I just want to put a little bit in here. Now watch your other 2 colors so that you don't get them all shoved down there. They need to be usable still. So once we stuff it, we can sew these eyes on and we can get rid of this before we continue on. I know this is probably not a typical way to do stuff. I'm just trying to find things that are easier for you. So stuff it any way you want to. But his nose needs to be pointy. Okay. Before we go any further, let's get rid of this. So we sew our eyes on. So we don't have all this yarn all hanging around, getting in the way. So I'm going to use glue because I don't want his eyes rolling up. I didn't use glue on my last project, and his eyes are already rolling, and I don't like that. I made this a bigger part with the double crochet and the half doubles for a reason, and then my other one, the eye, like I said, the eyes are just rolling up, so it's driving me nuts. You can sew this on any way you want to. There is so much noise outside my house right now, and I have no idea what is going on out there. You would think a train was going by right now. All kinds of whistles, and I don't know if my camera's picking up any of this, but it's very annoying. We don't have trains in our area. The tracks were removed decades ago. So I'm not sure what's making all this noise, but you would think a train was going by right now. I have no devices that are on. My TVs and my radios are all off. My husband is not home. He's at his parents' house visiting for Mother's Day. I have no idea what this noise is. Nobody has a flagpole in the area. The winds are not high. I don't know if my camera can hear. I don't know if you can hear this, but anyway. I'm not crazy, I swear. But it's starting to get annoying, is what it is. So once you come back around, I wouldn't really worry about, I mean, we used glue. So I wouldn't really worry about weaving or anything. I just pulled mine through and I'm just going to snip it off. So another good reason to use glue. I'm probably going to put more stuffing in this after as well.
I only stuffed part of it. I just wanted the stuffing in there, so I wanted to sew this on. Make sure my big part's at the top. So I don't know how many of you actually use glue in your crocheting, but you may think I'm strange for doing it. But it holds better. It's just a better look all the way around. So now I'm going to put my stuffing in there correctly. There's my Nemo's eyes. And his battery's gonna die now. I'm going through batteries today like crazy.
So, before my battery dies, Your next couple of rounds, this next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet. That'll take you down to 15 stitches. And then I want you to do 1 single crochet in each of those 15 stitches. And then we're going to change to black. So I'm on my last stitch. I have to go to black. So I'm going to pull up a loop. And I'm going to finish the stitch with my black. I can unhook it off the white. And I pull down. So your next round with the black is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I get my white out of the way. I just want to do my first stitch weaving in that orange just so it's not all loosey-goosey. I don't need my marker. So just let your orange hang down. You don't need to weave it in. And you're going to do 1 single crochet in each of these 15 stitches with your black, and then we're going to switch to white again. So I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to pull up a white loop, but I'm going to finish it with my black. And I'm going to pull down on my white and everything else. I'm going to do my 1 round of black. So I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to pull up a black loop, but I'm going to finish the stitch with my orange. So here I'm going to decide which color I'm going to weave in to cut off first, and since I'm using black, I'm going to weave in the black around. So with the orange, you're going to do 3 single crochet decrease. I find my stitch. I don't really need a marker, but that's number 1, weaving in the black, 3 single crochets, and then a decrease. So I'm going to use the whole stitch just so I can keep weaving my black in before I cut my black off. And again, 3 single crochets and a decrease. Making sure my black is getting weaved in. And yes, I am going to go all the way around with it because there's not that a whole lot of stitches. So I'm going to weave my black all the way around. So now that I'm back around, you can snip your black off, pull it out of the mess. You're all done with that for now. So for the next 2 rows, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I am going to weave in my white for a little bit, and then I'm going to snip that off, and then we're all free and clear. So, let's stuff this before we decrease again. Now that we're all done with all these stupid colors. I was so back and forth on whether to do a Nemo. I've been being bugged for about a year to do a Nemo. So, even though I'm not doing a Nemo, I'm doing a clownfish. I was being bugged for the longest time by my grandkids to do a Nemo. So, I finally decided that I would do one. Or a clownfish. So he's not quite like the Nemo. His coloring isn't exactly like the Nemo out there. And I didn't really make him long as the Nemo because I didn't want him to be that big. But he does take a fair bit of stuffing. Even though it looks like such a skinny little body. I found he took quite a bit of stuffing. So there's not a whole lot to stuffing him. Let's see, where am I? So we're going to do a decrease and then we're going to close this. So just do a 2 single crochet decrease. And then you can close his butt. We're going to cinch the rest of him closed. So I am done. I am going to fasten off. You just need enough to cinch him closed and then just weave a little bit. I'm going to snip this off. It's driving me crazy. That's where I cut my black off, but it popped through to the other side. So I just want to snip him off. And my white's doing the same thing. There. So, we got to make sure we top them off with stuffing before we cinch them. So make sure you're satisfied with how stuffed he is. I think it's good for me. We got to sew fins to this, so go in and pick up your front loop, go in and out the front loop, just like that. We can do that all the way around. It doesn't matter if your marker's in there or not, you will know when you come back around to where you fastened off because it'll be this little jog here. So I can go in and then you just pull. So you're going to have to secure it with a knot. Come across and go through this loop. Pull back and forth. Tightens that knot right down. And you don't want this little bumpy on the top, so we're going to go down as close as you can to your lead, which is right there. You're going to go down into the fish. You'll pop out into the orange preferably. And just pull down on that. That alleviates that bump a bit. And then you can just weave back and forth a couple of times. Snip him off. So he's a short little guy, but it's just a clownfish. And clownfish really are not that big. Their fins seem to make them look bigger, but... So, fins. Let's do the tail fin first. We're going to do orange, and then we're going to finish it with the black, because every single fin on a clownfish has got a black tip on it. Every single one of them. So every single fin we're going to do is going to have black on the end of it. So jump right into this. You're going to make a slip knot. And you're going to chain 3. Let's get him out of the way so my camera doesn't try to focus on some other stuff. And turn my light up. It probably should have in the first place. Using these colors. So you're going to chain 3 and you're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch. You only got 2 stitches. So 2 working stitches. The third one is still on your hook, so put 2 single crochets in each stitch. You chain 1, pull your stuff tight, turn. In this first stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochets. Then you're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 in each of these 2 stitches. And then on your last turning over stitch, there is a stitch there. It just turns itself over. You're going to put 2 single crochets in that final stitch. Chain 1, turn your work. 2 single crochets in this first stitch. And you're going to do 4 single crochets. That's 4. And then this last turning over stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. You should have 8 stitches. I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 8 stitches. And then we're going to switch to black. So switching our colors when we're not in the round is a little different. So make a slip knot on the end of your black. So you're going to do it the same. You're going to pull through to finish the stitch. Pull down on your orange and your black. Chain 1, turn your work. So now you're going to turn and everything is getting weaved in. The tail and the orange. So for the black, we need to kind of round this off a little bit. So in this first stitch, I want you to put 2 single crochets. Make sure you're weaving everything in at the black, or at the black at the back. Then I want you to put 2 half doubles in the next stitch. The next stitch is going to get 2 doubles. Then this next stitch, which is the center, you're going to do 1 slip stitch. And then in the same space, you're going to do a double crochet. So that gives you a bit of a hump. So a hump and a hump. That's what we're doing. The next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet and a half double in the same space. The next stitch, you're going to do 2 half doubles. The next stitch, you're going to do 2 half doubles. The last stitch you're going to do 2 single crochets. And I'm still weaving in all my stuff in the back. That is his tail fin. So you can fasten off. You're going to use the orange to sew with. So this black doesn't need to have a tail. So we're gonna, oh, I didn't fasten off. This little nubby, if you weaved in, can get cut off because I just weaved him all the way across. This black can get weaved in back on itself. You don't have to go far, just enough to kind of hide that. So you've got 2 bumps. You've got a bump and a bump. That's the way it's supposed to look. This is your slip knot, so you can just pull that tight. So that's what your tail's gonna look like. Now you need a sewing tail over on this end, and I weaved this orange all the way across. So I'm going to very politely come down the side, and I'm going to go to my straggler where I made my slip knot. I'm going to tie these 2 in a double knot, and I'm going to be very neat about it. I don't want to pull too tight for the first knot, but you can pull as tight as you want for the second knot. This camera is so irritating when it shuts off in the middle of stuff. So, instead of just cutting this guy off, because that might make your knot come undone, you can just weave him up a bit. It's really tight in here, so I don't think it's going to go anywhere if you just pull it up. And it hides that knot a little bit. Now we can sew this onto his bum bum. It is not easy to sew on because it's just flat. So again, I'm just going to use glue. I'm going to put a line of glue. I'm going to go down and out the side. I just want to pull this down into place. So once you get that into place, you're kind of just going to want to fold it a little bit so that you can go up and into it. And yes, I purposely went down into the glue with my needle and my yarn because I wanted the yarn to get covered in glue. Because every time I pull this through, it's going to get nice and stuck in the stuffing. So this tail should never move, ever. So that's why I did that. So you don't have to pull too tightly, but just make sure that this is going to be in the middle. So I'm not going back up the same, but I am going in really close. I'm just not pulling tight. I don't have to because I put the glue there. So I don't have to pull tight on this guy. So when I pull, that's just going to look like a stitch because I'm going in close enough, but I'm not going in and sharing the same space. So once you are satisfied, and you don't need to go a cajillion times because if you used glue, you're good. You're going to be fine. Ow! So, it's already starting to get hard in there. I'm gonna cut that off before everything starts to dry even worse. You're gonna want to starch this tail, so everything that we're gonna do, you're gonna want to starch it afterwards. So that's our fin tail. All the other ones, they're so short. So the two fins on top, you're going to take your black. You need to make two of these the same, so I'm going to do one with you, and then you can go ahead and make your other one. So make a slip knot. You're going to chain. Actually, you're going to make 3 of these all together. This bottom one and these 2 top guys are all the exact same fin, so you need 3 of these. So I'll do the one with you. So chain 5. In the first stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet. In the next one, you're going to do a double crochet. Then in the next stitch, you're going to do a half triple, so yarn over twice. You're going to go into the stitch. You're going to pull up a loop. You should have 4. You're going to pull through 2, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through 3. That's a half triple. In the same stitch, you're going to put a double. And in the last stitch, you're going to put a half double. So tighten up your slip knot, make sure everything's nice and tight. You're going to switch to black. So make your little slip knot. Tighten that up. Chain 1. I know we're doing this a little differently than before. You're going to want to weave in. You can weave in the orange and the black. Just want the orange. Orange and the black get weaved in if you can. I know it can be tough. So you're going to do in the first stitch 1 single crochet. I'll pull everything nice and tight. In the next stitch, you're going to do a half double crochet, weaving in your other stuff. In the next stitch, you're going to put 2 double crochets in the same space. Then you're going to do a half double in the next stitch. And then in this very last turning over stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. And you can fasten off. So same deal, fasten off with the black, just with a short tail, just enough to weave. Fasten off with your orange with a sewing tail. So this can get cut off because I weaved it in. You need to make 2 of these. 2 more. You need 3 altogether. So I'm going to very politely weave across. I have this on one side and my straggler on the other. So it really doesn't matter if you make a knot like last time. The only reason I did is because it was just there. If your straggler is long enough, you can use that for your sewing tail. I don't think mine is, so I'm just going to weave my straggler in. And this will be my sewing tail. So I just kind of need to scooch him down to the bottom. That's all I need to do. So go ahead and make your 2 other ones. I will put my pattern on the screen and I'll meet you right back here to get them all sewn on. So I got all mine done. So oh, I screwed up there with my piece of yarn. So I'm going to show you where they go, and then you can go ahead and sew them all on. So one goes up here, kind of in between the eyes type deal. The other one goes in between the stripes, according to the picture. You can probably use your own picture. And then the last one goes, oh, right below that. So the last one goes there. That's how that's going to work. So go ahead and sew yours on. I'm going to, of course, cheat and use some glue like I did before. And I will meet you back here to do the 2 main fins and then sew the mouth on. And then we'll be done. So this is what it should look like at this point. So I just went in and out here, and then I turned it around for the back, and I just did sort of a mattress stitch at the back to make it stand up straight like that. Now these will curl if you don't starch them, but you can buy this starch. If this is a left-handed video, this is probably backwards, but this is called Lean's Original Stiff and Quick, and it's fabric stiffening spray. You can buy this from Amazon. So it's great stuff, and that's what I used for just about everything. However, I didn't use it for this guy because I don't actually mind the curling. The fins look better, actually, I feel. They just naturally want to concave. It's hard to see. They naturally want to concave, and I actually think it looks good that way. And then these guys want to curl up like this, and I actually think it looks good that way too. So I didn't use any starch, and I'm probably not going to use any starch on this guy either, but if you did want to, then that stuff's really, really good. We've got the 2 front fins, so before we do that though, let's put a little mouth on this guy, because we don't want that to be in our way. So you just need a little piece of black. One end's going to get a knot, and you're going to thread the other end. Now again, this knot's not going to get pulled into, this knot's not going to get pulled into the fish. It's going to get pushed into the fish. So it doesn't matter where you come in, it just matters where you come out. So wherever you want your mouth, if you want a little mouth just on this side, or if you want a mouth all across the bottom, does not matter. Just don't pull the knot in, just we're going to push it in. So you just come across to wherever you want your mouth. And again, you can use glue here to glue a smile in place, which is not what I did, but I did pull and I squeezed to give that mouth more of a curvature. That's how I did that. So you just got to pull and squeeze a little bit to do that. So there's a little smiley face. So because you pulled and squeezed, you want to make sure that this gets a knot as well, because you don't kind of want to lose that shape. You want to lose that form. So tie a knot there. So I obviously came out the black because but I mean, if you come out the orange, it doesn't matter. You're not going to see it because this gets poked down. Sorry, that was a notification. I should have turned my phone volume down. So that just gets poked down. So now we can do the 2 front fins. So again, start with orange. I'm slowly running out of my orange. Hopefully I can get through this. So make a slip knot, and you're going to chain 4. in the first stitch, I'm not yarning over, I'm not sure why I just did that, you're going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch. Then you're going to put 1 single crochet in the next one, and then in the last one you're going to put 2 single crochets. So that's just how we're going to increase. And we increase right off the hop just for the shape. So make sure your slip knot's pulled tight. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn. You're going to put 2 single crochets in the same space in the first stitch. You're going to put 3 single crochets in. And in this last stitch, the turning over stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. You should have 7 stitches, and I want you to just put 1 single crochet in each of those 7 stitches. Chain 1, turn your work. Increase again, so in the first stitch it's going to get 2 single crochets. Now you're going to do 5 single crochets. And in the last stitch you're going to put 2 single crochets. One more increase row and then we change to black. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 7 single crochets across, and then 2 single crochets in the last stitch. So now we change to black, and we're going to do it the exact same way. So take your black, make your slip knot, put it on your hook, pull it tight, pull through, pull down on your orange because you want to tighten that. And we're going to come around, you're going to chain 1 and turn. And this row is going to be an increase, so 2 single crochets in the first stitch, but now you're weaving in all your crap back here. Nine single crochets across. That's my 9 the hard way because I'm trying to weave in this little bit. And your last stitch gets 2 single crochets and then you can fasten off.
Oh, I don't think I went into the whole stitch. No, I did not. That did not feel right. Sometimes this turning over stitch can be quite difficult. Can't seem to get into this whole stitch. There we go. And I had to weave. Boy, that was more awkward than it needed to be.
Anyway, so one more, chain 1 and fasten off. We're not sewing with the black, so you just want enough to weave with the black. I'm going to snip off this little bit piece of business here because that was just from weaving the 2 ends. So I'm going to hide everything. So I'm just going to stick him through here. Trying to be polite about it because you're going to see both sides. Your straggler from your slip knot. Actually, you know, what I should have done with these fins when I just popped into my head now, is done a long tail slip knot. Or slip knot. With a long tail. That way this could have been our sewing tail and we could have just hidden that part, but Oh no, I was not thinking apparently. And I just thought of it now, if you can believe that. But either way, a sewing tail with your orange, and then of course we have to weave it down to the bottom because I'm not smart enough to do a long tail slip knot. I have no idea what just happened there. Sometimes I'm not too bright. Yeah, I've been crocheting for a long time, but that doesn't mean I'm smart. I do make mistakes. And I can be quite stupid, especially when I'm sick. So, that's that guy. So you have to go make your other. This camera gets so frustrating. So, just behind the eye is where this one goes. And I would let it curl because I think that looks so much better, but this goes just behind, like that. So I want mine to curl. So I am going to go in and out on the bottom a couple of times. The bottom's not that big, but I'm going to go in and out so I can cinch it a little bit before sewing it on so that it actually does curl. So I want it to curl that way, but so that is what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to sew it on like that. So again, I'm going to use my glue, and I only need a little bit of glue. Make sure it's in the right spot. So I just go in and out of my project. Just make sure you're actually going out a hole, because you got to go out the hole to go back in the hole. Then you go back in the same hole and come up in a different spot up here. That's all I did for all of mine. And then I just kind of did a mattress stitch for the other side. So I'm only sewing on just a few stitches in the front because I want it to be like that. So then I go down as close as I can, and I pop out just behind, and I do a mattress stitch. Make sure you pull that tight. So then, now that I'm behind it, I want to grab a little bit of the fin. So just a little piece. I don't know, it's probably going to be hard to see. Orange on orange. And then I've got this color of needle. And then I grab just a little piece of the fish. And again, I grab a little piece of the fin and a little piece of the fish. I think that's fine. That's good. I was gonna say it's fine. So, because I use glue, I don't really need to worry about weaving a whole lot, so I'm just gonna pop out here and cut the thing off. And that's all I did. So like I said, over time, it'll fold in like that. So, go ahead and make your other fin and get it sewn on. And we'll be done. I'll meet you back here after. Well, there we go. I think my sewing sucks. I don't think my fins are quite even here, but anyway. This is the clownfish. I just got a few little spots I just gotta kind of fix that I screwed up on, but there we have it. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.